I know this is OTAs, but I can't help but be excited for this offense. What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. Today, we're going to be covering OTA practice number 8 for the New York Giants as we enter this home stretch. I was not able to get to OTA practice number 7 yesterday because Giants.com, aka John Schmelk, yes, I'm talking to you, John, decided to upload the practice notes and the touchdowns and takeaways at 6 p.m. when the practice was at noon. What were you doing for 6 hours? So I was not able to make that video for you guys because on Mondays I have to go all the way an hour away to Orlando to play my flag football game. So by the time I got home, it was 11 o'clock. There was no way I'm making a video. Because since the media is not there, I got to depend on Giants.com, and Giants.com is not putting out the articles. I can't make the video. The whole point of all this is for me to gather all the information, as I've been doing for years, all the important information. There's a lot of articles, things that go on in practice. I'm going to give you guys everything that you need to know when it comes to these practices, and that's why I make these videos, so you guys don't have to read all these articles. But if you don't know what happened in last week's practice, a quick little rundown. The offense is just clicking. I was asking to see more of Russell Wilson because we went through 5 OTA practices and we barely heard Russell Wilson be mentioned, besides him going like 1-4 or something like that, where it didn't look great. But now it seems like Russell Wilson is wheeling and dealing. We got some video of it as well, him hitting guys like Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson, Darius Slayton, I believe Jalen Hyatt as well, and even today with Jalen Hyatt. Russell Wilson has been looking really, really good, and there is a stark difference when it comes to him and Daniel Jones. I'm not here to mention a lot about Daniel Jones. There is a little bit of a subliminal jab, if you guys stick with me, in these articles about Daniel Jones on Giants.com, so we'll get into that in a second if you stick with me. But there is a stark difference between those two players. If you watch him in practice, you know, throwing to, if it's much more velocity, right? Much more velocity, and hitting these guys in stride. It just looks beautiful. It looks beautiful to see. Daniel Jones, we just didn't get that from him when we watched these videos. Yeah, did he make some impressive catches, impressive throws here and there? Sure, but Russell Wilson just looks different. He just looks like he's a better quarterback, man. So we're going to start with Russell Wilson as he picks up right where he left off yesterday in hitting Jalen Hyatt for 2 impressive catches today. One was down the middle. I don't know if it was a touchdown, deep down the middle. And then another one was a back shoulder down the right sideline. Now, if you know, the Giants have been trying to get the back shoulder game working these past couple of years. More so last year, we saw a lot of it. I mean, they spammed it like a Madden play, like in every single drive during the preseason games, but we really didn't see it during the regular season. I guess they kind of waned off of it. They weren't confident that it would work, but we saw Jalen Hyatt a lot of the times with Daniel Jones doing those back shoulders. There was one that really stood out to me against the Houston Texans. I believe there was 2 against the Houston Texans, and one of them didn't count because Jalen Hyatt like barely had his foot off but it was an impressive catch. Jalen Hyatt can do that type of stuff. They're trying to get him implemented into the offense in ways that help Jalen Hyatt, or in ways that Jalen Hyatt can help the offense, rather. I think we should just let go of him potentially being a route runner. They just got to focus on what he does best. And unfortunately, that makes him a one-trick pony. But if he does it well and we're able to get him the ball without offenses completely jumping at him because they know what he's going to do, if they can find a way to get him the ball, I'm all for it. But apparently, Jalen Hyatt has been really impressing, just apparently blowing right through cornerbacks. Pause, but you guys know what I mean. He's getting right past a lot of these corners, and he's making impressive grabs down the field. Again, we saw a lot of this in OTAs and training camps prior. I got to see it on the field. Even more than preseason, I got to see it in the regular season, man. Like Patrick Mahomes says, I will see it when I believe it. I wanted to quickly talk about the undrafted free agent wide receiver Bo Collins out of Notre Dame. He was the first undrafted free agent rookie this year that I watched when I was making my undrafted video. He has been on the notes just about every practice. Him making an impressive grab either on a sideline, deep down the field, down the middle, making a tough grab in traffic. Like, he's doing it all. I'm really impressed with Bo Collins. I don't know if he's going to wind up making the roster or not. There's just so many wide receivers. I just doubt it at this point. The Giants are loaded, especially with the starters. Like, there are so much talent there that it's going to be hard for an undrafted rookie to make it. But he's making a really good case for a practice squad spot. Bo Collins has been working well, whether it been from Jackson Dart, who he started with working with first, or Jameis Winston, in which he had 2 impressive catches from Jameis Winston. Actually, it was 3. The first one was a deep crossing route where Jameis Winston hit him in stride. As the article says, like a shortstop, like a baseball player just slung it in there to him. The second one doesn't say the route it was on. It said deep down the right sideline, so I'm assuming it was like a 9-ball, stop and go, whatever, out and up maybe. And then the third one was what they call a flag route. I just call it a corner route or a post corner, depends. But I really like what we're seeing from Bo Collins. I really hope that we get to see more of him in the preseason. He's probably going to be a guy that's going to separate himself from the rest of the undrafted guys. Like, we've heard a couple of things from the other wide receiver, the one out of Virginia Tech, Daquan Felton. We heard about the safety a little bit, Makari Page. There are other guys, you can mix in there. I really thought we were going to hear more from the one running back that we had. I forgot what his name was. Rushawn Baker was his name. There we go. It says here again for like almost the second or third day out of these OTA practices where all the tight ends were not only implemented in the offense heavily, but they were all performing extremely well. That includes Thomas Fidone II, where he's making a lot of impressive grabs. I wanted to pose a question to the audience here, the viewers. Who do you guys think are going to be the tight ends to make the 53-man roster? Because I talked a little bit about that on my appearance on Talking Giants with Justin Pennick, and we talked about the tight ends and who's possibly going to make this roster. It is really interesting. It's something I didn't really think about too much until the question was posed to me. But you look at this tight end room, you have obviously Theo Johnson, who's slated to be the starter, but I don't think he's all of that, to be honest with you. Then you have guys like Chris Manhurst, who really just provides a blocking role, doesn't really provide much of that otherwise. Then you have Daniel Bellinger, who's kind of like been forgotten, but I was a real big fan of Daniel Bellinger, both as a blocker and a receiving threat. Again, doesn't have the athletic ability of Theo Johnson downfield, but he still can do a little bit in the receiving game. I think he should be used. And then you have a wild card like Thomas Fidone, who I really like. Listen, this is not an insult at all, but I called him the poor man's Colston Loveland, if you guys know who he was coming out of Michigan in this year's draft, in the same draft that Thomas Fidone came out of. Very, very similar skill sets, and we got him in the 7th round. Like, I think there's some value there. I think he's a fantastic blocker. I think he's extremely athletic, can catch the ball. What is this tight end roster going to be looking like? I'm extremely excited. I would hope Thomas Fidone makes the roster, but it's hard. I mean, we're probably going to have like 7 receivers on the roster. Are the Giants going to keep 4 tight ends? Like, I don't know if that's going to be possible. So I'm excited to see. What do you guys think the tight end final depth chart is going to look like with the 53-man roster? And I know some of you may be wondering what's going on with Jackson Dart. He's making some plays here and there. Nothing crazy to like make my own segment on about Jackson Dart, but he's been making some plays here and there. Every time I see him or hear about him in an article, he's like hitting a receiver deep in stride for like a crossing route or whatever. This time it was Dalen Cambray, whatever his name is, the special teamer out of like Louisiana or something like that, the Raging Cajuns, the career special teamer. So that's good, but nothing much other than that when it comes from Jackson Dart. Nothing too much to note. There's some tidbits here and there, but I mean, if there's anything important, touchdowns, interceptions, I'm going to let you guys know about it. But before we move on to the defense, I wanted to talk about this quote that I think it was John Schmelk he posted. Yeah, Schmelk makes the practice notes. So he said, and it seems like finds it interesting, even though it's more obvious than not. He says, "It sure seems like the Giants are throwing and connecting on more deep throws down the field than they have in years past in the spring. It makes sense given Wilson and Winston's willingness to get the ball downfield." I wonder why. It's no secret that Daniel Jones just hated throwing the ball deep, or he just couldn't do it, or he just didn't trust himself, or wasn't confident in his receivers. Whatever the reason was, I feel like we were just like the media and his supporters were just pretending it wasn't an issue. Man, it really reminds me of this past election when it came to Joe Biden. Not to bring up politics, but my God, was it so similar, where everybody was just pretending that Daniel Jones didn't like to throw the ball downfield. Like, people are like, you can't throw the ball all the time downfield. Brother, he wouldn't even do it once. Like, he wouldn't even try to. So I'm loving that the Giants are not only attempting more throws downfield, but they're connecting on more throws downfield. And of course, the first thing that we thought about when obviously the Giants signed Jameis Winston first, the first thing we thought about when we had these guys signed was, hey, we might actually be able to throw the ball downfield. We might actually be able to create explosive plays, or at least attempt to. You know, Daniel Jones, it was so rare to get a deep throw out of him. Forget about connecting on it. It was so rare just to get a deep ball out of him, even though you would watch the all-22 film, and he was completely missing wide open guys downfield. When you have guys like Jalen Hyatt, you know, we could point out a bunch of plays from Jalen Hyatt, and he was barely on the field. But in the few times he was on the field, he's wide open on plays. There are a couple plays against the 49ers 2 years ago and against Seattle. Like, I'm just remembering these things in my head. I think one against Washington. And then you have guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, who I get is tiny. You won't be able to see him. And even guys like Darius Slayton, who makes his money downfield. You decide not to hit him on, deep downfield anymore, even though that's how you guys built your connection. Daniel Jones was just not able to do that. Having receivers like that and not be able to create explosive plays is a travesty. Especially having Malik Neighbors now. You cannot allow Malik Neighbors to have a season average of 10 yards per reception. That is absolutely blasphemous to Malik Neighbors' game. You gotta allow these guys to spread their wings and fly downfield. So moving on from that rant, we have a couple of big plays. The biggest play came from Javon Holland getting his second interception of OTA practices, where he jumped in front of a slant. I love this because what that tells me is that they're moving him around. His first interception was all the way deep downfield, and he was able to cut off a pass and run it back for a touchdown. In this case, he cut off a slant, so that tells me he was in the box and showed his awareness, cut off a slant, and apparently brought that one back to the house as well, where he cut off a slant by Amir Smith-Marset. Took it back for 6. Paulson Adebo got another pass defense. Raheem Lane, who has been making some noise in these articles, and also Cordell Flott, who, again, for I think the 8 out of 8 practices, Cordell Flott has been mentioned. So that's good to see. You know, he's been here for a while. He's one of the most, I mean, it's crazy. He was, I believe, he was one of the first draft picks by Joe Schoen. He was drafted in the 3rd round in Schoen's first draft. So, you know, he's been around for a while with us. So you would expect him to make some good plays, right? He had an interception yesterday, if you guys didn't know as well. So that's good to see. We had another interception, this time from Chauncey Golston. He tipped a pass to himself and intercepted the ball. And prior to that play, he had a sack of his own, followed by Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and even Paulson Adebo getting in there for a sack on 11-on-11 drills. So that's fun. And as we wrap this thing up, man, shout out to Brian Burns, man. I don't know if they're counting how many sacks he's had in total, but I'm pretty sure it's like damn near close to 10 sacks during OTA practices. That's what you want to see from your top paid pass rusher. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll be back on Thursday when they finish out their OTA practices for the week, and then we'll move on to minicamp. So that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Siege X just came out, so I'm going to be on that this week. And yeah, all that being said, leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I don't know if I said that already. Did I? Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!